all areas. So never seen before details of present story of the sports. And the second one, historical perspective. It includes new interviews and viewpoints of the past story of the sports. And the last one is syndicated contents. It's a series with the completely different stories in each episodes. So each of these three storytelling formats have a notable example of success and failure, but have a clear differences in attributes and goals. Okay, thank you. So my colleague Nadi will continue.
Thanks, Blor. Assalamu alaikum. To introduce our research structure, let me first start with our hypotheses. The effective production of a meaningful sports docuseries significantly. Hypothesis 1 increases the viewer's general interest in the relevant sporting entity. Hypothesis number 2 increases the brand equity of the relevant sporting entity. Hypothesis 3 increases the viewer's willingness to watch a broadcast involving the relevant sporting entity. Hypothesis 4 increases the willingness to purchase a product of the sports entity relevant in the docuseries. Now you might ask yourself, how many hours we spent on watching Netflix and Amazon Prime to understand the differences? And the answer is yes, we spend a lot of hours. But not only this, because our research methodology were built on three main pillars. The first one was the case studies. Case studies from lessons learned from two of the most successful docuseries in the sports industry. A groundbreaking docuseries helped Formula One to win over new fans after the 2010 crisis, with declining of crowd numbers and falling TV viewership, and an engaging fan base. Yes, it is Drive to Survive by Netflix. Whether you are an NBA fan or not, like me, you watched live the NBA in the 90s or not, this is your chance to look back on Netflix and ESPN production, starring the 6 successful seasons of the NBA Chicago Bulls. I hope I said the name correctly this time. In the 90s, as the team won 6 titles in 8 years, led by the greatest NBA player ever, Michael Jordan, that I got to know him during this research, by the way. When their coach, Phil Jackson, has referred to their last season as the last dance. Next, and our second pillar, we launched our fan survey in 4 languages, Arabic, English, Mongolian, and Spanish, to ask fans about their opinion about some of the most successful docuseries in the sports industry. We received 367 respondents. The parameters measured were enjoyment of a docuseries, the change of interest, the change of sentiment, the willingness to watch a live broadcast involving the relevant team or sporting entity, and finally, the willingness to purchase a product from the relevant team. Only non-avid data were considered, 180 respondents, to minimize the sample bias. When you come across our figures and analysis, you can see clearly 2 most important points. First one, 90% of our respondents were between the age of 18 and under the age of 40, and almost 90% of our responses came from CAF and AFC, particularly countries like Egypt, Australia, and Mongolia. Finally, and the last pillar of our research methodology, and this was very inspiring to our findings and also very relevant. We had 6 interviews with experts from 5 organizations, split into 2 phases. The first phase, we wanted to understand the best practices of docuseries and the confederation context, where we wanted to understand how women football illustrated across the world. We have met with film professionals broadcast experts, development managers, and club representatives from a mix of confederations, leagues, clubs, and agencies. And coming to this point, I'm leaving the floor to Harley to take us through the findings. Thank you.
Thank you, Nady. Following extensive primary and secondary research, we are thrilled to present our findings. And we start with our first two. Number one,